Hello, welcome back to Buckle Up. My name's Rob Wilson and this is the Volkswagen Polo Beats.
Before we get started, this car's very kindly been lent to Buckle Up by Parkgate Motor Company. You can find a link to purchase the car in the description below.
Okay then, so let's start at the front and, well, it's just a Volkswagen Polo. Not that that's a bad thing. You know, you've got the standard VW grille with the nice big VW badge in the front. Polos aren't that sort of interesting, but you may have heard me mention that this is a Beats spec. So this is a spec that Volkswagen have come up with. They've partnered with Beats, the headphone suppliers, the ones that are made by Dr. Dre. So far over my head. So even though it looks relatively normal from this angle, things start to change as we make our way down the side. So let's do that now. Okay then, so the side, this is where things start to look a little bit different compared to your bog standard Polo. So let's start with the wheels then. These are 16 inches in diameter and they're diamond cut, so they really help this, you know, they make the car pop. It looks more sporty and more interesting, just a better wheel design than a standard silver alloy. You get black painted mirror caps and then you get this enormous stripe all the way along the bottom, and it sort of patters off with an effect there. You also get a Beats badge on the B pillar, just so everyone knows that your Polo is better than theirs. But other than that, it's sort of standard Polo affair really. This was available as a 3 or a 5 door. This is the 5 door one, added practicality obviously that comes with that. But what I think we'll do now, speaking of practicality, is look at the back and also the boot. Okay then, so at the back of the Polo, and it's gone back to standard Polo affair now, there's no little Beats touches around anymore. You do get a Blue Motion badge on the back that lets you know that this is an eco Volkswagen. It's only a small 3-cylinder 1-litre petrol engine, but we'll get more onto that when we start to drive it. Nothing really much more of interest here, so what we'll do is we'll open up the boot, and this is a VW, so it's got that neat little trick where the badge is actually, it's locked. Now this being a VW, it's actually got that neat little trick where the badge is the boot release. So you use that, lift it open, and you can see you're greeted by, well, quite a decent amount of space really. The floor's nice and flat, there's no real load lip. You can remove the parcel shelf if you want to. He says, look, there you go, remove parcel shelf, let's get rid. And then if you want to, you can do this from the back as well. You can push the seats down and they're split 60-40, and then you've got a nice area to push stuff all the way through. So if you're traveling off to uni, or I don't know, you just need to fill your car full of crap basically, going to a festival, something like that, you can do that. The only problem is with a Beats over a normal Polo is you would be able to lower this false floor, but because the Beats has a subwoofer in the boot, you can't do that. It gets in the way. It also means you get no spare tyre. It's just a tyre inflation kit, because there isn't enough room for all of that, you know, subwoofer stuff and the spare tyre. That's the only real downside, but it's not really that much of a downside, is it? So that's the boot. Let's go and see what the back seats are like. Okay, so the back seats of the Polo Beats. As I constantly get reminded, I am a big, tall, gangly freak. I'm 6'2" for reference, which means I can't fit in the back of any car. Well, unless it's like a Rolls Royce. So this seat is in my driving position, and I can sit behind myself. I wouldn't want to sit behind myself for 3 hours, but I can sit behind myself. You can either spread your legs and man spread, Or you can, because there's little indents in the back of the seat, stick your knees inside there and it's not too bad actually. Headroom wise, I mean, if I sit up straight my head is touching, but you don't, do you? You slouch a little bit, so I would personally sit like this. In terms of space for a normal person, you're going to be fine. You can easily get 2 adults really comfortably in these back seats. 3 would be a struggle. There is a middle seat, but that's not really... That's emergency use only, in my opinion. Because there's this quite large hump in the floor, if you do have someone in the middle, there is going to be a bit of a wrestle and a jostle for some foot space. In terms of features back here, you've got nice big pockets on the back of the seats. They're a bit like aeroplane style ones. You do get a cup holder, which is for the back seats because there's some more up front. You get 1 to share between you. The door pockets wouldn't fit a bottle of water in, they're not very big. You do get some tinted glass and you get little hooks here, so you can hang your coat off or whatever. There is Isofix, that you can just attach the baby seat, you can just attach the baby seat straight into, which is quite handy. I think that's about it for back seat features. Oh no, I'm talking rubbish. So because this is a Beats, look at the seatbelt. You get red stitching on the outer bit of the seatbelt. Oof, isn't that posh? Right, anyway, let's go and sit in the front and see what that's like. Okie doke. So, up in front in the Polo, and this is where it starts to make a lot more sense over rivals, in my opinion. The interior is just a much nicer place to be than the Fiesta or the Corsa. You've got nice soft touch even on the top of the dashboard, plastics. They've got a nice leather steering wheel, leather gear knob, leather handbrake. There are some scratchy plastics further down, but you're not going to be touching them all that often. You've got a nice armrest that's padded. You can, you know, it's just such a nice place to be. You can't believe that it's such a small car. In terms of features, you've got absolutely loads of stuff. You have a nice coloured touchscreen, which you can operate using these. Oh, let's not get a copyright strike. It's all touchscreen. You can set your radio stations. It's got DAB, AM, FM radio. You can connect your phone up. And it doesn't have sat-nav, but you can, if you click menu, you can do what Volkswagen call App Connect, which basically means you've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay built in. So you can run Google Maps or Apple Maps or Waze or whatever it is through your screen, which in my opinion is always better than the manufacturer system. You've got your sort of aircon controls further down, standard hot, cold, fan speed, direction. Then a bit further down you've got quite a nice big cubby down here. You could probably fit some sunglasses or something at the back there. You've got an aux in, a USB and a 12-volt socket, which obviously you can use for charging. You've got 2 cup holders of a decent size. They'll fit normal size water bottles. You've got a couple of sort of tray things down here, but they're not really of that much use. The glove box is quite big. This one's obviously got the owner's manual and that stuff in, but it's of a decent size, quite practical, and the door bins are quite good as well. You could probably fit a 750 milliliter bottle of water in there, so it's all good on that sort of practicality front. In terms of what you've got on the steering wheel, you've got your button to answer the phone, which means you can do hands-free, which is good. You've got your skip track, your volume controls, which is obviously very important in a Beats, and then you've also got your cruise controls on this side, so you can set it at a speed, but it's not full adaptive cruise control. It won't hook onto the car in front. It's just a speed setter one. In terms of a couple of other things, you've got electric mirrors, which are also heated. Obviously you've got electric windows all round, and you've got parking sensors, so that's quite nice, and they come on and they do front and back. What I think we'll do now though is go for a quick drive. Okay then, so out on the open road in the Polo Beats, and the first thing to note is this is not a car if you want to go anywhere quickly. It has a 1 litre naturally aspirated engine which produces a mighty 59 horsepower. That doesn't make for particularly sprightly acceleration. In fact, it takes 15.5 seconds to get to 60. But if you're only going to be using it as a town runabout and very occasionally going on the motorway, then it's going to be fine. I mean, it's not like it can't keep up with traffic. You just have to give it a bit more time if you want to pull out somewhere, or if you're on the motorway and you want to pull out to overtake. You just got to take that extra bit of time. I don't know if you can hear that, but obviously being a 3-cylinder makes a nice little thrummy little noise. It's quite endearing really, but not quick. Oof, not quick at all. So usually when cars aren't very fast, they're economical, and it's the same story with this. Volkswagen claim 58.9 miles to the gallon, although we all know that Volkswagen's figures aren't necessarily correct. But you're going to be getting somewhere in the 50s for your MPG, which is pretty good going. It also only emits 108 grams of CO2 per kilometre, and because this car was built before the tax changes, that means you'll be paying £30 a year, I think, off the top of my head, so cheap to tax as well. Obviously having such a small engine is also good for insurance, because I have done a little bit of research, and a 17-year-old could get insured on one of these for less than £1,000 a month, which sounds a lot if you're not 17, but trust me, if you are 17, that is really good value. The ride is superb. It's very comfortable, even though, you know, obviously with it having a reasonably short wheelbase, it's still a little bit bumpy, but for a small car it's quite excellent. The handling is decent as well. It's nice and safe and secure like a VW should. You know, you stick it into a corner, it's all just solid. There's no hint of sort of wanting to push wide, even if you could, because there's not enough power to do that really. It's just a really pleasant car to drive about in. Obviously it's not going to drive as well as a Fiesta, because that's always been the best in class when it comes to handling. It brakes nicely as well. Lots of, there we go. Whoa, really get on the anchors. You know, it's nice progressive feel. It's not bitey. It just, everything in this car is just exactly what you would expect. It's very quiet in here. There's barely any squeaks or rattles. In fact, I don't think there's any squeaks or rattles. There's no fuss, no dramatics. It just gets on and does the job. You can accuse it of being boring and slow, but that sort of misses the point of a Super Mini. All it's supposed to do is get you and some of your stuff from A to B. And if you're after a car like that, and it's also got this sort of interesting youthy stuff in it as well, then I think this is a really, really great little car. Anyway, that's enough talking, so I think what I'll do now is throw it back to myself for a conclusion. Okay then, summing up the Volkswagen Polo Beats. Well, it sort of makes you consider what's the point of upgrading to a Golf. The only real reason I can think of is if you want that extra power, but if it's a first car or just a cheap city runabout that you're after, then this is excellent. Compared to rivals, the Ford Fiesta will drive better. The Corsa, no, I can't think of any reason why the Corsa is better than this. But if you want a sensible, practical, looks reasonably interesting, small car then I would highly recommend that you put one of these right at the top of your list for consideration. It's really won me over. It's quite a great little car, to be honest. Right, that's it for this video. So remember to like if you've enjoyed, comment down below if you've got anything to say, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. You can follow us on social media. All the links to that are down in the description. And while you're there, why not check out our Patreon link if you want to support us that way. And we've also got merchandise now. Look, wow, isn't this fantastic merchandise? You can get that also down in the description. Right, thank you again for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Oh, I'm locked. No. I've locked myself in. Let me out. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ugh.